Greetings and salutations, horror movie fans, and my name is Gilbert Ybarra, and welcome back to the Attic Review. On today's episode of Tar, I want to talk about the scary as hell Last Shift. With all the talk about the remake that just came out by the same director, I wanted to talk about the brilliance of the original. So in traditional Attic Review fashion, I want to talk about the three acts as I saw them play out, what I liked and disliked about each act, and how I felt about the movie overall. So without further ado, let's talk about the police officer against pure, unadulterated evil in Last Shift. We begin with the lady in blue coming through by the name of Officer Jessica Loren, and she is reporting for her very first shift. Man, she a rookie, and she is treated as so with a not so nice welcome from her superior officer. But once they're past that, we find out why she is in this about to be abandoned police station. Her supervisor basically tells her that she's on shit detail. She has to watch the closing down police station until a hazmat crew shows up to rid the station of its contaminated evidence and perhaps clean it of its past. Immediately after her supervisor bounces, she gets a phone call from a sobbing young woman who we find out later on is named Monica, but this woman is pleading for help. But wait a minute, Officer Loren is not supposed to be able to receive inbound calls, so I think we're all getting the vibe that something is not right around these parts. But what is it? Well, tonight ain't her night, as she has to kick out a homeless dude for breaking into the station and using the station floor as a urinal. Then she gets more freaky calls for help on the line that she shouldn't be receiving phone calls from, and then to top it off, the station is playing evil shenanigans on her and us. This homeless guy is acting like a real D-bag again and is being put into a lovely cell for his efforts when all of a sudden, Officer Loren is trapped in the cell with him, and how do I describe this? Let's just call it a you ain't cool until you pee your pants party, because what happens next is sheer terror. She's in the dark, trapped with the homeless dude in the cell when all of a sudden she realizes that those two aren't alone, and I'm going to let you enjoy the end of Act 1. Before we get into the Act 1 likes and dislikes, do me a huge favor, y'all. Click like and subscribe. It would mean the world to me. Alrighty, let's get into the Act 1 stuff. Act 1 like, right away, I am enjoying the intrigue, the mystique, and the aggressive jump scares in this incredible location. Actress Juliana Harkavy, I hope I said that right, is an impressive leading lady as Officer Loren, and I am morbidly excited to see what the station is going to put her through. Sure, there's already jump scares galore, but they are well timed and executed nicely. Act 1 dislike, felt like there was a slight lag in the storytelling. I admire the mystique, but at the same time I felt like some of the dead air time could have been used for snippets of backstory. Besides that, Act 1 finished so strong, and now let's get into Act 2. Woohoo! Officer Loren, that was a close one. No, for real, that was some super scary shit. So as the officer regains her senses, she goes outside for some fresh air. Outside, she stumbles across a working lady enjoying a smoke that is about to give Officer Loren a story she doesn't want to hear. Turns out this lady of the night was there the evening that a Manson family type trio was brought into the jail on charges of murder. And not just murder, murdering innocent girls on their farm. Officer Loren knows this story because her deceased father was one of the officers that was there on that particular evening. However, the story that she heard was not as accurate as Pretty Woman's over here. You see, the unholy trio was brought in alive despite other reports, and in a ritualistic suicide, they splattered evil all over the same walls that Officer Loren is guarding tonight. That certainly explains the Sixth Sense type shit going on around this place. To mess with Officer Loren even more, the interview of the killers from a year ago is being aired on some company TVs, and then we meet the leader. And my oh my, if he's here, who's running hell? Well, this leader of the Payman clan tells us exactly who they serve. And I would not want to be Officer Loren tonight, especially considering John Payman's last words of, "I'm gonna come back for some unfinished business." I'm paraphrasing, but holy shit. Back to the hijinks, as more calls from Monica come in, more poltergeist action throughout the station, and then back to story time with an officer who knew her father. The officer leaves after giving her more insight about the Paymans, and then more terrifying things begin to plague the poor rookie. I'm gonna spare you the details so that way you can enjoy, but let's just say it's bad enough for her to break down to have to call her superior officer again. He tells her to use that lump that's 3 feet above her ass and really think if she wants to make this her first and last shift and dishonor her father. She can't let down Pops, so with a heart full of fear, she agrees to stay and we end Act 2. Act 2, like, hot damn, what an introduction to our protagonists, the Paymans, and their devilishly charming leader, John Michael Payman. Excellent villains to match the intensity of the police station hauntings. Another like is the pulse-pounding pace. Even in its slower parts here, the air is still drenched in dread, and I, for one, am still scanning around Officer Loren for things that are going to make all of us jump. Act 2 dislike? Can't complain about that awesome chapter, so let's get into the scary as third act and conclusion of Last Shift. Start of Act 3, we are about to applaud Officer Loren for making a smart horror movie decision, but psych, gotcha bitch, because like flies attracted to doo-doo, she cannot help but run inside the office as soon as she hears that goddamn phone again. Once more, the caller is pleading for help, and Loren still thinks she can help, but she soon finds out that she can't help Monica. Why is that? Because dun dun dun, she's been dead for a year. Last year she was killed on this day. So the calls are coming from inside the house type situation has put Loren into a full-on panic, and she sprints down to the hallway only to see photos of her deceased father at the crime scene. Now that distracts her long enough for one of the Paymans to take her hostage. But this situation doesn't last long, as the attacker confesses she's only here to celebrate John Michael Payman's passing with a little game of Russian roulette so that way she can join her beloved leader. Well, that's one less thing for her to worry about, but back to the hell that she has to endure as she gets more phone calls from Monica, then her deceased father, then she gets harassed by the ghost of Monica, which scared some pee-pee out of me, and then Officer Loren finds that homeless guy in his cell, but not in great shape, and she is trapped in that cell again! This time, Daddy John Payman truly reveals himself, and you know what? Loren's in danger. This is it. Don't get scared. Okay, this is the perfect time to forgive yourself for how scared you're going to be for the last 10 minutes, including an extremely bleak ending. And I'm going to let you enjoy this fear fest of a conclusion to Last Shift. Alright, do me a huge favor, click like and subscribe so that way we can get to the pros and cons of Act 3. Excellent, alright, what did I like? Everything, man, everything. I give it a 10. A fucking 10 to this excellent conclusion of a film that was beyond proficient at terrifying its audience. Excellent story that tied together neatly, a strong lead performance by Officer Loren, and my goodness, the scares and creep factor were unreal. So you guessed correctly, I don't have a bad thing to say about this wonderful conclusion. Overall feelings about this movie, same sentiments. I really don't have anything to complain about except for the fact that I wish it was a little bit longer than an hour and 27 minutes. The story wasn't cheesy, it was solid, and this film had an air of confidence around it with its jump scares that I really admired. Wonderful movie, and I wish more people would mention this in their need to watch recommendations. And that's it for today's episode of Tar, and me confessing to how badly this movie actually scared me, and I hope Last Shift gives you the same feelings. It has been an absolute pleasure. Please subscribe, like, comment, tell some friends. My name is Gilbert Ybarra. Thank you so much for watching the Addict Review. Smile, Tiger.